Melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. 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 Okay. So this is the prep session for the Rabinowitz Bar Mitzvah.
Nice.
So in case anyone's not clear, just in case you are not aware, we have been attacking Iran. The Ayatollah is dead. Just in case you, I know.
I didn't know.
I figured the really quick Reader's Digest version is it was finally enough. Thank God, so far it's all been through air. But they have. It's truly been a Purim. But they have. How many read the daily emails? Okay. Well, if you don't get them, talk to Orlando. He'll make sure you get the daily emails.
So we're really celebrating a real Purim.
We have celebrated a real Purim. Yes. And now we're going to celebrate a real Pesach. So Passover is coming up. Passover always shows up a month after Purim, and we're at war. Ostensibly, the two do not go together, and yet they really, really do, and that's what we're going to study for a few minutes. This is non-smoking over here, smoking over here. There's some non-smoking chairs over there. We're not going to go through this entire handout because I realized it's... Lauren, there are a couple of chairs over here if you want. Come right here. Are you smoking or not smoking? Over here. You are or you're not? Okay. So we're going to go over some of the stuff in here. We're not going to go over all of it because if we did that, we'd be here till tomorrow afternoon. But there's stuff here for you to take home. How many of you will be hosting a Passover Seder at your home? How many of you will be attending a Passover Seder? How many of you have no place to go and you need a place to go? We will find you a place. Okay? Every Jew should celebrate the Pesach. All right? So we're going to go over this. We're going to take a lot of the Passover stuff that you know, hopefully add some information about Passover that you don't know, or customs that you're not aware of. My favorite one being the one where the Seder leader runs around and he hits everybody over the head with the Seder plate. That's my personal favorite. But we're going to go over different customs, and we're going to go over how to do it differently, why to do it differently this year. And there's something I actually came up with that I'm going to try and write an article about because I think we should add something new to the Passover plate, and not an orange. So we're going to go over that kind of stuff too. So who wants to begin by beginning on reading on the beginning of page 1? Loudly. Camera's going to go on you too. Loudly.
Okay, here
we go.
Before even starting to study, we need to understand a basic principle that is hidden in plain sight in the texts of Judaism. A specific theme or story is often recapitulated with some specific intent to drive home the teaching, to draw a hidden teaching from the first telling of the theme that helps us understand the later recapitulation to a deeper level, to help us see when the story is repeated in the future in our own lives so that we have a deeper understanding of what we are experiencing personally and in the present.
Okay, so when I teach conversion classes, which I've done many, many times and for many years, the curriculum that I created spends a whole bunch of time on the Torah and then on the Tanakh. And people say, well, why do you spend so much time? And the answer is because when you start to see the patterns, you see that there's a story and then it's retold a different way and it's retold a different way. So we keep getting more and more understandings. And so that when we hear this one, it brings us back to the memory of this one. So please continue reading nice and loudly.
Some examples are, so early next morning, Abraham saddled his donkey and took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac.
So this is the Akedah. We read this on Rosh Hashanah. And what is it? It literally says that early in the morning, Abraham snuck out, saddled his donkey, and took with him his servants, and they left. And their son Isaac. This is the beginning when he's going to sneak out to go do the Akedah. Continue.
When he arose in the morning, Balaam saddled his donkey and departed with the Moabite dignitary.
The Hebrew is the exact same. The Hebrew is literally the exact same. So why? What do we learn from this? Abraham, when he first does it, he has given up his sense of responsibility. So very quick understanding of the Akedah. Abraham is told by his concubine Hagar to throw, or excuse me, by his wife Sarah to throw Hagar, his concubine, and the son Ishmael out. He goes to God. He says, should I do this? No, Abraham knows what's right. He knows he shouldn't do it. But God says, you do whatever you want. So he does it. And then what happens? The very next line after all this happens with Ishmael, and after these things, what things? God, him throwing Ishmael out, God tested Abraham. And he said, Abraham, Abraham. And Abraham said, here I am. And he said, I want you to take your son, in parentheses, because obviously you didn't think Ishmael was your son. Your only son, because clearly you didn't think Ishmael was your son. The one you love, because you clearly didn't give a darn about him. And I want you to go out. Abraham is so lost being a fanatic in that moment. He has lost his soul. He knows what's right, but he's let go of it. So he sneaks out with the donkeys and the boy, and he goes and we get to the Akedah. Same story. Exact same story, right? We have this story that we it's a recapitulation. Balak, the king, sends to Balaam, this prophet, this great diviner, this seer. He says, I want you to curse the Hebrews, curse the Jews. Balaam says, no, I can't. He offers them more money. No, I can't. Offers more money. No, I can't. Offers them even more money. Balaam says, let me think about it. Hey, God, can I do it? God says, do whatever you want. He knows it's wrong. So what does he do? The exact same language of Abraham. Do you see the parallel in the two stories?
Yes.
And it's a reminder in both cases, because in both cases, not such great things happen. These great seers, in the case of Balaam or in the case of Abraham, in Abraham's case, God never speaks to him again. But they lose a lot of who they are because they're lost. They start to be lost. So there's a parallel to keep true to our ethics. You know, it's the analogy I make is the old story about Johnny Carson. Right? How many of you know this? Johnny Carson and a model?
Yeah.
Right? You know this, right? Johnny Carson apparently asked a model back in the 80s, would you have sex with me for $10,000? She thinks about it. She says, yes, I would. He goes, would you have sex with me for $100? She goes, what do you think I am? He goes, no, we've established that. Now we're just negotiating. And once you cross the line, you cross the line. Abraham crossed it, lost himself. Balaam crossed it, lost himself. It's a recapitulation to remind us not to do that. Please continue on with the next quote.
Then she told him the same story, saying, the Hebrew slave whom you brought into our house came to me to dally with me. But when I screamed at the top of my voice, he left his garment with me and fled outside. When his master heard the story that his wife told him, namely, thus and so your slave did to me, he was furious.
Okay, this is the story where Joseph, Potiphar's wife, keeps saying, sleep with me. He says no. King, her husband, or Potiphar, her husband, leaves, and because she wants what she wants, he gets up and she goes, oh, he tried to rape me. It was the first Me Too experience that was not honest. Okay? Next story. This comes instead of Potiphar and Joseph. This is Esther and Haman. Please continue.
Last night.
When the king returned from the palace garden to the banquet room, Haman was lying prostrate on the couch on which Esther reclined.
Prostrate, not prostate. That's a whole other thing.
It's a whole other scene. Different story. Another part of the body. Whole different story.
Is he attempting, cried the king, a conquest of the queen in my own palace?
Okay, same story, right? You guys see it? We recapitulate stories. We repeat them over and over. Give the third example because we want to keep moving on. Just want to make sure that everyone understands the pattern. Go on.
They had not yet lain down when the townsmen, the men of Sodom, young and old, the whole entire body gathered about the house. And they shouted to Lot and said to him, where are the ones who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may be intimate with them.
The story of Sodom and Gomorrah. They're not interested. Here, pull up some chairs. We have more chairs. More chairs. Pull up chairs. You lost some weight. Where's the puppy? Where's the puppy? Okay. This is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. The Sodomites are not interested. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice of you to ask.
The Sodomites, it's not that they cared about that they wanted virgins. Sometimes they'll say that. No, or that they were gay. No, it's not about that at all. They wanted the stranger. Because Lot actually says, you can have my virginal daughters. And they say, no, we're not interested. We want the strangers. This is about how we are hospitable, how we're not. Remember, Abraham's hospitable to the angels. He washes their feet right the day after being circumcised. Think about it. The man's been circumcised with a dull rock. The next day, he's running around trying to help people. God bless him. So, right? So he's got that. This is the story of when you're not hospitable. That's Sodom. Go on.
While they were enjoying themselves, the townsmen, a depraved lot, had gathered about the house and were pounding on the door. They called to the aged owner of the house, "Bring out that man who's come into your house, so that we can be intimate
This
with
is from
him."
the book of Judges. Again, the same story. So it wants to harp home the teaching of that we need to be hospitable, certainly not inhospitable. Make sense? So Judaism is always about repeating things. And so the idea being that we're going to learn deeper and deeper and deeper why we do what we do. We do Passover every year, right? We all know, right? We were slaves, we got free, right?
Let's eat.
Let's eat. That's every story, right? So, but we know this, right? We know that we know the story. We know there's the plagues and we dip the wine. But the idea is we do it so that each year we can take a different level, go deeper and higher as a result. And we don't do that enough. Think about it. How many of you, either you personally or people who wrap the fill-in every day? Okay. Here's the question: is each day a deeper experience for them, or is each day, okay, I'm just going to get this done. I'm done. An empty ritual. Depends on the person. The idea is that everything we do should be deeper and deeper. That's why we continue to do Pesach, because it also teaches us about what's going to come. We just saw Purim. And I don't mean we saw Purim by the reading of the Megillah Esther. We just saw Purim.
Right.
Okay? And if you're not sure, the city of Shushan from the book of Esther is currently, that city still exists. It is still a walled city. It is called Susa. It is in the western part of Iran, I think it is. Western Eastern. I always get mixed up. But it's literally the same city. They admit it's the same city. And it's the one that's had the crap bombed out of it.
Yes.
Okay, we just saw Purim. We just saw Haman get his butt killed. And remember, Haman actually was not hung. The actual Hebrew says Haman was impaled. Okay, the difference is hanging is you go from this, you go like this, right? Impaling is there's a big stick and they hoist you. So it's from the bottom up.
And all his sons.
And all his sons. And that's sort of what happened
on Saturday.
On Saturday. We saw Purim. In our lifetime, we just experienced Purim. Okay? And we're experiencing Pesach as well. All right? Again, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, Hannah, they all have the same story. They cannot have children. They're barren. I hate that term, but that's the term that's used. They're unable to have children. God blesses them, and they are magically, just miraculously, they have these children. Again, the story's repeated. They all meet their partner at a well. Okay? A well is a place that you meet your partner. Today, the well is generally a well drink, but it's a well, right? It's all the same. We see the stories over and over and over. It's to give us a teaching, all right? So we're going to see things over and over tonight, and we're going to kind of look at them, not just where they are, but how we are recapitulating them in our time right now. Everyone accepts that we just experienced Purim, right?
Yes.
Everyone sees the parallels.
Yes.
Let's do some more and see the parallels with Pesach. Who wants to continue on page 2, where it says to prepare ourselves?
To prepare ourselves to receive the blessings of Passover, we must understand that not just the holiday of Passover, but this entire month of Nisan. The month of Passover is holy, and historically has been filled with miraculous events even beyond the Passover. There is inherent power in the astrological understanding of this month. One of the reasons being that according to Rabbi Joshua ben Hamiah in the Talmud, the universe was actually created on the 1st of Nisan. It is a month of empowering both the people and the nation state of Israel. More about this month will be discussed later, but other blessings, miracles that occurred during this month include the day the floodwaters receded from the earth.
This is the month. Nisan is the month for the land and state of Israel. This new month that's about to start soon. Okay? It's our month. All tribes, all different cultures have different months. This is our especially powerful month. Please continue.
God made the covenant of Abraham, giving Israel to the Jewish people. Jacob wrestled with an angel, and his name was changed to Israel. the Meshakan, the Holy Tabernacle, was inaugurated. In 701 BCE, the Assyrian army, which had threatened Jerusalem, was destroyed. Rabbi Nachum of Breslau was born. The ancient Hebrews, led by Joshua, crossed the Jordan River into Canaan. Maimonides was born. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising began. Noah's Ark rested on Mount Ararat. The Red Sea split. Joshua won the Battle of Jericho. In 1799, during a siege, Napoleon issued a proclamation to the Jews of Palestine promising the reestablishment of ancient Jerusalem, coupled with a plea for their support. This was the first promise by a modern government to establish a Jewish state. The holiday of Passover. In modern times, the holiday of Yom HaShoah was established.
So there's a lot that goes on for our people in the month of Nisan, right? This is our month. This has been a big month in our history. And a lot of amazing things. This is not all of it. A lot of amazing things happen. So as soon as we start Nisan, we are starting to prepare for the Pesach. Okay? As soon as we start the new moon of Nisan. Would you please continue as we continue on page 3 about we start preparing it for the first of Nisan, and then we're going to have to do this chametz hunt. How many of you do a chametz hunt? How many know what a chametz hunt is?
No.
It's where you're sent out in the middle of the night, and you've got a shotgun, and you're waiting for a deer that has rabbit ears. No, we're going to do a chametz hunt. Who does a chametz hunt? Okay, how many don't know how many of you have never heard of a chametz hunt? Oh, fabulous. Please continue reading about the chametz hunt.
The hunt for chametz,
And it's not when you take a shotgun and look for it.
even begins. We are obligated to
I thought that
remove
was
all
funny.
chametz from our home prior to the day before Erev Pesach. This year, that means by Sunday. If we are keeping any chametz in the house, we are to lock it up or tape shut a pantry door so that it is inaccessible during the holiday. And then we are to sell all of it to a non-Jewish friend or neighbor, and then purchase it back after the holiday.
Okay, let me explain something. You're not allowed to have chametz. What is chametz?
Bread.
Chametz is anything that rises. Okay? Anything that has like yeast, anything that has a grain that rises. Why? Because they had to rush out of Egypt, as we know, but also because leaven doesn't add any substance. It only adds size. It's arrogance. It's puffiness. That's what it is, and we want to remove all of our puffiness for Passover. So you got to remove from the house. And you were to hunt it. And I think I talked about how you hunt it, which I will in a second. But one of the things I want to just point out is if you don't want to go through a chametz hunt, you can take all of your chametz, put it in a closet or a cabinet, lock it up, tape it up, and sell it to a non-Jewish neighbor. This is a rabbi legal fiction.
Yes.
Chametz is anything with yeast, anything that rises, right? It is a rabbinic legal fiction.
Yes.
I do not recommend it. I do not recommend it since I did that when I was in my 20s to a friend. And I said, okay, it's over. Here's your $1 back. He goes, no, you're going to have to pay me more than that. He wanted to make money on and so I finally, he wouldn't back then. I said, that's fine. It's still yours, but you're paying me rent for my cover. And he made me. So I really, it's better to get rid of. Please continue reading what chametz is and what we need to do for it.
We are to consciously leave 10 crumbs of chametz in the house.
So 10 crumbs, all your bread, all your cereals, all of the things with grains, any grain that expands in 18 minutes of water or less is considered chametz. So you get it all out, but then you consciously leave 10 crumbs hidden around the house.
18 or less or 18 or more is chametz?
18 or more. No, 18 or less is chametz.
Your monster can't be more than 18 minutes. More than 18
18, you're right. No, you're right. 18 minutes or more. If it expands it over 18, if it doesn't expand it under 18, thank you, Sam. You're actually right. If it does not expand under 18, it's kosher. If it does, you got to get rid of it.
Unless you're Sephardi or Persian or Mizrahi and you can eat rice.
We're going to get into that. It comes from, there are these, well, go ahead, keep reading because I think I actually talked about it.
On the night prior to Erev Pesach, we are to chametz hunt by candlelight for the 10 crumbs and collect them. We are to collect them in a rag and burn them all in the morning of Erev Pesach. This is all symbolic of removing arrogance, remembering the power of the 10 plagues and 10 commandments, and truly cleaning our souls prior to the holiday.
So I don't get this. So let me say what Randy was talking about. You know, these grains that are forbidden to eat in the Torah. Okay? You got Ashkenazi Jews, you got Sephardic Jews. There's got Jews who are influenced by Catholicism of the Middle Ages, and you got the smart guys. Okay?
Easy.
Most of us are Ashkenazi, including me, so I'm happy to say it. You got the guys who were influenced by the church and the guys who weren't. Which is why if you go to Sephardic temple, their pulpit, their ark is not in front of everybody. Or their ark is in front. The rabbi's not in front of the ark. The rabbi is amongst the people praying towards the ark. Makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Because I'm not the gateway to Torah.
That's the Sephardic tradition.
The Sephardic tradition is that you're in the middle. Okay?
Yes.
In the Ashkenazi, in the Sephardic, they say there are 5 grains prohibited. Those are the grains that you cannot eat. The Ashkenazi say, no, by extension, it's any grain that's like that, which includes rice. The Sephardians say, no, we like our rice, and it doesn't say it's prohibited, so go strip yourself. Okay? Like I said, they're much smarter about that. So that's what he was referring to in terms of what's allowed, what's not allowed.
So that also includes beans, correct?
Beans,
And
beans,
peanut butter.
It depends on whether you're. It's called the gooms. There's actually a word for it. I'm blanking on the word for it. But there's a term for those things that are allowed by Sephardim, not allowed by Ashkenazi. Thank you.
What is it?
Kinyot.
Yeah.
And it's so you go when you get kosher, right? You get bamba. Who's ever had bamba? You guys get bamba, and it'll say that it's kosher for Sephardim, but not Ashkenazi. It's peanut butter cheese puffs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's right. Okay, please continue reading.
This year we need to have a specific
This is
kavanah.
important. Now we're going to talk about the war, okay? And where we are right now, today, this year. Please continue.
A specific kavanah intention when burning the 10 crumbs. We need to focus on burning all of the evil of Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, and all in the world to create a new world of peace. This is the alchemical process, also defined by Jungian psychologists known as
Calcinatio. The idea is you're going to burn something so it can become so burned, become ash, it can be then finally just fertilizer for something new. When we're burning our Hamas this year, may that happen to Hamas, Hezbollah, and all of this Iranian regime. Okay? And that's what, so when you're burning it this year, that's why it's important. If you never burn it, collect some crumbs, burn them on the morning before Pesach, before the Seder, and be conscious. I'm burning these here, but they are symbolic of Hamas, Hezbollah, etc., the Houthis, etc. This is important because otherwise Passover is something that's not meta-historical, it's just historical. What's the difference? Historical is something that happened in the past. Meta-historical is realizing that it happened in the past, but the teachings are important and still work for today. And so Passover is a meta-historical holiday. We're slaves, we were slaves, we're now slaves to something else. Well, you know what? We burn the chametz, and we need to burn the arrogance, puffiness, chametz that is also existing. Please continue, because this is also very important. Go on.
the refining and purification by fire. As we burn the crumbs this year, we need to also focus on burning away the evil of Amalek, the evil of hate, and the evil of a world that wants to eliminate Israel. Through the purification of fire, those evils can be transformed into positive aspects of peace, respect, and an Israel that is in a long-term state of peace and prosperity with her neighbors on all sides in the region.
Well, made, right? Please. Who else wants to read? Who wants to start? Someone on this side.
Yeah.
Go, Dennis, loudly.
What is the chametz of the world right now? Secular Jews.
Loudly.
Secular Jews who are filled with their own arrogance rather than surrendering to the higher power of God through a Jewish baptism.
This is the chametz right now. Right? This is part of the chametz right now. The secular Jew who says, you know what? I'm too good to be a Jew. I'm a Jew because it's like Evan Syed. He says that to be a Christian, you accept Jesus as your Savior in your heart. To be a Muslim, you accept Allah as the one true God. To be a Jew, you had to come from a Jewish womb. Right? The guy who says, I'm Jewish. The guy who says, I'm getting married. I'm having a funeral, but Rabbi, I want it Jewish, but not too Jewish. I don't know what that means. Come on, how many of you heard that at Sinai?
All the time. Every day.
We want a rabbi who's going to make a Jewish funeral, but not too Jewish.
Right, every day.
And the irony is that an observant, an Orthodox Jewish funeral is much shorter than a Reformed one. Okay, that's the irony. So that's one of the things that we need to really get rid of, isn't it? We need to change that. It needs to change, and it needs to go on. Please continue.
Rabbi, really quick.
Yeah.
I think people feel that way because when they don't speak Hebrew or understand Hebrew, they feel disconnected. So there's not a bridge for some Jews to feel connected in the service. They feel disconnected.
And you're 100% right. And interestingly, the Talmud says that if you know Hebrew and if you understand Hebrew, you are to pray in Hebrew. If not, you are commanded to pray in your normal language, in your vernacular. It's not a choice. There are 3 exceptions. One is not the Shema, by the way. There are 3 exceptions, 2 which we don't do anymore. One of which is the Shema, or not the Shema, excuse me. One of which is the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly benediction. Other than that, you need to say it in English, unless you're fluent in the Hebrew. Okay, so that's one of the problems. Right? We have this part that needs to be cleansed, that needs to be fixed. One is the secular Jew, the one who's totally disconnected from Judaism and Israel. Okay, the one who's sitting there saying queer Jews for Palestine.
So stupid.
Okay,
Chickens for KFC.
Chickens for KFC. It is my favorite one. Even trumped that was at UCLA. There was a demonstration, and there were a couple of human beings that I don't know what else to so-called holding up a sign that said "Queer Rabbis for Palestine."
First ones to go.
No, they get to first they're killed because they're rabbis, then their heads sewn back on. They're killed because they're Jewish. Heads sewn back on. They're killed because they're queer. They're fundraising auction item. Okay, please continue. What else is a problem? Go ahead. Yes. What else is
Second group, Orthodox extremist Jews who are entrapped in observing ritual without any intention and consciously separate and segregate the Jewish people from each other.
Oh, you know. See that guy? Yeah, he says he's Jewish. He's not really Jewish. You and I know that because he doesn't do what we do. How many of you know Orthodox guys like that? Yeah, they can kiss my tokas too. First of all, most of them are ignorant. They really don't know the tradition. They don't know the laws. But boy, are they attached that they know. No idea. How many of you realize that for most of the Hasidic groups, specifically Chabad as an example, they do not believe that Israel should exist.
That's a fraud statement.
Theologically. I'm not saying the Chabadniks. I'm saying the theology of it. Okay? Because Randy, you know some of my favorite guys are Chabad rabbis. So that's not.
That's expressed.
Which is theology?
This is old.
That's that sect that expresses.
If they express, they'll say, they're spitting on other Jews, or they're saying they're for Palestine, because they don't believe the temple that we should be in Israel until the temple is rebuilt by Mashiach.
So you're talking about
That's
the
it.
political state of Israel.
I'm talking about the political state of Israel. I'm not talking about the land. I'm talking about the political state of Israel. Okay. One quote from a very famous rabbi was, "Mashiach will bring us is the state of Israel, not Ben Gurion and his thugs." Okay. Please continue. Who else?
Virulent anti-Semites who have been hiding their hatred of Jews, but for whom it's always been a foundation of their worldview. In the last 2 years since October 7th, and especially in the last week, have not all of these categories been exposed for what they really are?
Okay. In the last 2 years, and especially in the last month.
Last 5 days.
Last 5 days. What do we see? We see these people. I mean, look at the last 2 years. Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, the Hodge twins, right? These people. Now, I called these guys out in an article over 2 years ago as anti-Semites. So I got the receipts to prove it. All you had to do was listen to what they were saying. When Tucker Carlson compared October 7th to the fentanyl crisis as a moral equivalency, I knew he was a Jew hater. Because the two have nothing in common other than people die. But they become so popular, and these people have more followers than there are Jews on the planet. Right? Whether it's those people, remember, after World War II and the Holocaust, you couldn't be an outright anti-Semite because you would be shunned. That was true all the way through the 70s. By the time you get into the 80s and 90s, it's not anti-Semitism, but instead of saying I hate Jews, I hate Israel. Same thing. Yeah.
Rabbi,
Loudly.
It all started after the 67 war, when Israel showed how strong it was.
I would say more after Yom Kippur, but yes, in that time period.
Because they demonstrated how powerful the Israeli army is and air force. And so all of a sudden, the Arabs became martyrs.
So there's whole reasons for that. We talked about an anti-Semitism class and class anti-Semitism. But these all come out. But you know what? They've all been exposed, haven't they? Okay? Candace Owens has always hated Jews. Okay? She always has.
Yet she spoke at Jewish business leaders.
They were paid her. Okay, let me be blunt. Excuse my language. She's also always been a whore. Okay? I'm sorry for the language, but that's the reality. If you know her, you guys know it was the last show she ever did before she was fired. I was on the last show she ever did for the Daily Wire before she was fired. And so the point is that it became acceptable to be anti-Israel, and then it became kind of acceptable to be anti-Israelis, and then it became acceptable to be anti some of the Jews who support Israel, Zionists. If you are a Jew, you are a Zionist. Because all Zionism means is that you want us to have our own homeland. Everyone else has their land they can go to. We want our home. That's it. That's all it means. Doesn't mean anything more or less than that.
So how do we classify those Jews, and there's a lot of them, that are anti-Israel?
But Sugarna. Honestly. So this is the idea of cleansing it. People starting to see it. So now you can start having dialogue with those Jews. October 7th, it made their minds implode. But for most of them, for some of them, it changed their whole worldview. For most of them, it didn't, because within 3 months, it's in the rearview mirror, and they just will disconnect. Okay, so this is one of the things that we need to get rid of and wake up and change in the world. Yeah, go ahead.
Progressive Jews are essentially anti-Semitic because their social relationships get pinned upon it. They're more concerned about their social placement in society than they are in being Jewish.
There's a lot of reasons we talk about it in class anti-Semitism, one of which is the desire to assimilate. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, please continue, Dennis. Because besides Chutz, now you're going to have Passover, right? And you got to have a few things in Passover. One of which is maror. Please, Dennis, continue. Nice and loud.
The 5 types of maror, in order of preference, are lettuce, chicory, horseradish, endives, and wormwood.
Okay, these are the 5 types of traditional herbs you can have for your bitter herbs. Please continue.
The lettuce, which is least bitter, is most preferred. Why? Because it is tasteless, and it's compared to the slavery of assimilation.
What you were talking about, Alex.
We don't even realize how bitter our lives have become as though we get
Sorry, I made typos.
Get used to it. And the bitterness of assimilation becomes impossible to notice.
It's a famous statement, right? It's easy to be a Jew when it's hard to be Jewish. It's hard to be a Jew when it's easy to be Jewish. Okay? It's hard to be a Jew when it's easy to assimilate. Please continue.
As we start to talk about the maror at the Seder, we need to discuss why the lettuce is the most preferred. Let this lead then to a discussion about how the challenges we are having with Hamas, Hezbollah, Gaza, started as lettuce and have only become the most bitter since October 7th.
You guys realize that? Okay, let's be clear. The moment we said, okay, we're giving back this land, the moment we said, okay, we're pulling out of Gaza, it's because, it's not that big a deal. Well, then you weren't realizing how bitter it is, excuse me, how bitter these people are if their commitment, which it is in the Quran, is to kill us. That is the commitment in the Quran. It says in the Quran that the day of judgment will not come until every Jew is killed. And the few left are hiding behind a tree or rock, and the tree says, "Oh Abdullah, oh Muslim, there's a Jew behind me, come and kill me." Over 217 times it says to kill the Jew. This is not a peaceful neighbor. They're not interested in it. Palestine from the river to the sea means no Israel. But we were asleep because it wasn't that threatening. Right? In 2005, it wasn't that threatening. By 2009, Hamas has controlled Gaza. There's some problems, but it's not that big a deal. It's the idea of getting used to something until it's too late. And we get to wake up. Please continue.
We also need to realize that in 1964, when the concept of Palestine, quote unquote, was created, we, the Jews and Israel, ignored the lies and propaganda and let it build up over the years until this big lie has become the accepted truth. Like the slaves of old, we let the bitterness become deeper and bigger rather than stopping it when it first started.
1964, Armstrong, Yahtzee, and Hirsch at being paid for by the Soviets and by the Arab League decide that they need a victim, and they come up with this concept of Palestine and Palestinians. There is no such thing as Palestinians. Never has been. Never been a stamp, a country, a king, laws, currency, or anything else of quote unquote Palestine. They create a victim, and out of that comes their first leader, an Egyptian named Arafat. Okay, no such thing. What should we have done in 1964? We should have sat there and said, whoa, this is BS. What did we do? Oh, it's not that big a deal. It'll never catch on. Now it is the accepted truth because the lie has been told so much. Yes, go ahead.
Sharon had a good idea, but he was wrong. When he pulled out
Loudly, loudly. He said Sharon had a good idea, but he was wrong. Okay? And Rabin had a good idea, but he was wrong. Okay? Please go.
Ideas?
That they want to have peace. Right? Okay, please do.
Question. So the people that are, the Jews that are pro-Palestine today
Are idiots.
are idiots. Are they really pro-Palestine or are
What,
they
was that
really
too- what-
anti-Trump?
Yes.
Good point.
Yes.
Which is more or the same or they're all?
It's yes, because they were pro-Palestine. They were pro-two-state solution before Trump. And the two-state solution has never been an option. Ever.
We know that.
It's never been a historical option. It's never been a reality. At the moment you say Palestine is defined from the river to the sea, there is no Israel. Okay, and most people saying that don't even know what river and don't know what sea. Okay, yeah, Joel.
We also don't realize that the two-state solution has already been implemented. It's Jordan.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. So that's the thing.
Jordan. The two-state solution has already been implemented.
Exactly.
It's called Jordan.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys realize when we talk about the Saudi Arabia kings, we talk about Jordan, we talk about all these the Shah's family, right? The Shah's family has been the royalty of Iran for centuries. And no, it's been there since 1921.
Right.
All these people were installed by the Brits. Okay? They're the ones who installed all these people. That's okay. There's some good Brits too.
I don't know.
Okay, I can't think of any. But all right, please continue.
You can see the beginnings. You can see the beginnings of that in Lawrence Arabia.
Absolutely.
Because that's where all this came from.
He said this all begins in Lawrence of Arabia.
Really, like
You
that's
can see them.
That's the starting point for
Yeah. Okay, go on. Loudly. So they came back here.
When eating maror this year, do the following things. Make the Hillel sandwich of maror and charoset as you always do. But this year, put as many different types of bitter herbs as you can into the sandwich. And put so much charoset in the sandwich that sweetness overwhelms the bitter. Yes, that means it will be a much bigger Hillel sandwich this year than in the past.
So there's 5 types of bitterness, right? Let's see. Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, Houthis. Who am I missing? Islamic Muslim power, the Muslim Brotherhood. That's right.
The Turks, Yemen.
So put as much of that stuff as you can. Represents all of them. Overwhelm it with a charosis. Okay? My suggestion is Sephardic Haroset. It's much better than the Ashkenazi.
Here, here.
Okay? Sephardic Haroset, Ashkenazi Haroset is apples and walnuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sephardic is like dates and figs and wine. It's delicious. Okay?
I'm Sephardic during Passover. Right?
Yes.
It's always good. All right, so overwhelms it. So the sweetness overwhelms the bitterness, and when you eat it, you're not just eating that in your own life, but for all of our people. Because when we do one thing as an individual Jew, it affects our entire Jewish world. This is a major principle in Judaism.
Indeed.
If my finger had a laser, it went 1 billion miles, and I just move it 1 degree, that's not very much. But 1 billion miles up, that 1 degree is thousands and thousands of miles, isn't it?
The butterfly effect.
And that's what we are as Jews. When we take on one new mitzvah, it affects everybody. That's why I've said for 2 years, you want to help the war effort? Put another mezuzah up in your house if you don't have one on every door. Decide you're going to keep kosher 1 day a week. Decide you're not going to eat pig. You're not going to eat shrimp. Who wants the insects of the sea anyhow? Right? Whatever it may be. One, light Shabbat candles. Whatever. But when you do that, it helps the war effort more than you know. Because let me give you a hint. The Iron Dome's not what's protecting us. God is. He's using the Iron Dome, but let's be clear, this is a miracle. If you see a video of what's going on over, I'm telling you, a friend sent me a video from Tel Aviv. The whole sky, it looks like smog or storm clouds from the missile smoke. It's this whole layer. And thank God, very few injuries. Please continue.
We need to make sure to cover 3 topics during the night.
This is the law.
Pesach, Passover. Evil passes over the Jewish people as long as they are true to their path. This is important. This year, as we need to remember that our biggest ally is God, and the best thing each of us, diaspora Jews, do for the war effort right now is to be, quote, Jewish. Take on that one extra mitzvah during the year. Keeping kosher, lighting candles, lighting Abdallah, wrapping tefillin, etc. Passover teaches us that evil will always pass over us if we are true to our path.
That's simple. We got to be true. Okay, who wants to start reading again on the second paragraph of page, whatever that is, 5? Come on, someone loudly. Go, Randy, loudly.
Our greatest weapon is not the Iron Dome, Iron Beam, or any of the amazing defensive weapons that Israel possesses. It is Hashem. With the thousands of missiles attacking Israel, it is a clear miracle that there have been so few injuries. It is a literal recapitulation of the angel of death passing over the nation of Israel.
Oh, we got to Passover. 5 days. We have been nonstop barrages of missiles, right? And yet the angel of death has been passing over Israel, hasn't it? Gone straight to Iran. Plenty of food there.
In southern Lebanon.
Okay, so Lebanon right now as well, right, with Hezbollah is. So the point being, we are in literal Passover. Please continue.
Matzah, time. Time is precious. If matzah is made in 17 minutes and 59 seconds, it is kosher for Passover. 1 second more, and it is considered chametz and not fit for the Seder. We need to encourage each other to act with electricity as our ancestors did in getting out of Egypt. When you see something that is Jew-hating, anti-Israel, etc., call it out immediately. Do something to stop it immediately. Time is of the essence, especially when we are hoping to achieve a goal of freedom or peace.
So you know what really frustrates me? There's 2 Jews, okay? One over here, the other one is talking to his friend, who's Jewish or not Jewish, and his friend makes an anti-Semitic comment. And both these 2 Jews don't say anything. Then you have given your tacit approval. If you say nothing, you are guilty of the crime in Judaism. If there's a crime being, according to the Gemara, if there's a crime being committed across the river and I do nothing to try and prevent it, I am guilty of the crime. That is our law. So why are we letting these people, anyone, badmouth Israel? badmouth Judaism. Okay, why? It doesn't make sense, does it? But it happens all the time. The question for each of us is, do we let it happen? And I hope not. Please continue. Right?
I mean, like yesterday, the governor of California. That's another example.
Yeah, this is, for those of you who don't know, apparently Newsom said Israel's apartheid. Okay? So you know what should be happening? That happened yesterday, correct?
He's
Okay.
not ignorant.
Today, there are 5 rabbis. 5. I'm not going to name their names. There are 5 rabbis in the state who could destroy his career in 30 seconds. Because between these 5 rabbis, they control over half of his donors. You know one of the temples. Right? Excuse me? There are 5 temples that these 5 rabbis, who, by the way, were also silent about COVID. They could have let every synagogue be open on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Because I guarantee you, if these 5 men had called up, and a few of them are friends of mine, and I told them I think they got no cojones.
They don't.
But if they had called up Newsom and said, you know what, you let us have our high holidays, we're going to preach at high holidays exactly how much you hate us. He would have opened up synagogues for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur like that. You know some of the people I'm talking about. Do you agree? Okay.
Why do you think they don't?
Because they don't want to offend their donors.
Right.
Again,
or anyone else.
Or anyone, Lawrence, or anyone else. I mean, that's
All about complacency.
it's they could have done it. So, my anger is always at rabbis. I don't get angry at Jews. I get angry at rabbis. Okay, please continue. There we go.
See the previous paragraph immediately. As Iran has gotten closer and closer to having nuclear weapon capabilities, the urgency of time has become more clear. It is not a coincidence that the attack on Iran happened within days after China made a deal with Iran to supply them with more ballistic missiles. It is not a coincidence that this all happened right before the holiday for him.
Well, hold on a second. Are we definite about this? The sun?
This is what came up on my thing.
On where? Hold on one second, guys. There's a report apparently that Khomeini's son was just killed.
Yeah.
I thought that happened Saturday.
No, he was just installed in the last 24 hours.
I want to be a leader of these guys. Oh, well, you last 10 minutes.
Hold on, because this is important. Wait, this is really important if it's true.
Jewish boys.
I'm going to go sideways for a moment. It's not showing this anywhere on YNET.
No, he got assassinated. He got elected at 9 a.m. By 3 p.m. he was assassinated.
Okay.
That was yesterday.
This is an important side teaching. How many of you just felt joyous? How many of you felt joyous about Khomeini's son? Okay, I'm going to ask that you don't.
No, you're not supposed to.
Hold on. Our response to death is, Baruch Dayan Emet. Blessed is the one who judges in truth.
Exactly.
Okay? We say it when someone good dies. We say it when a mumser dies. Blessed is the one who judges in truth. We do not take joy in our enemy's death, because if we do, they won. The moment I take joy in Khomeini's death, my soul is damaged. The hell with him. My soul is damaged. Remember what God says at the parting of the Sea of Reeds.
Yeah.
The sea comes crashing down on Pharaoh's army. The angels start to rejoice. And the Midrash teaches us that God then says, the work of my hands is being destroyed, and you want to sing hymns of praise? He stops them. We do not rejoice at the death of our enemy. We cry at it. Because the sad thing is that something created by God has to be destroyed. I am very clear. I have been clear since October 7th. Gaza should be destroyed. Should be razed to the ground. It is Amalek the moment they decided to attack children and women. They were not attacking armies. They chose, like Amalek, to attack the weak. I'm very clear that Gaza should be made into a parking lot. Or more precisely, a few golf courses. Well, no, think about it. You don't have to build the water hazards. You always have to hold it.
So what's the consequence of rejoicing at your enemy? What is the consequence?
The consequence is the damage it does to us, to our soul. I cannot tell you. It's been 2.5 years. I've probably, for 3/4 or more of that time, cried at least once or more every day for what we've had to do. Golda Meir said it more beautifully than anyone.
Yes.
We may someday be able to forgive the Arabs for killing our children, but we will never be able to forgive them for making us kill theirs. So we take the gratitude. There's a difference between gratitude and joy. But the moment that we become joyous in the death of a creation by God, we have damaged ourselves, and here's a big place where we've damaged. How many believe in God? Okay, one of the teachings from, you can go sideways, who cares about the handout? I know the guy who wrote it, he's a schmendrick anyhow. I wouldn't listen to him. If I wasn't forced to, I wouldn't listen to him. So, what happens in the story? God softens and hardens Pharaoh's heart. Over and over. Can God reach into anyone's heart and wake them up? Okay. Then the moment we rejoice in the death, we are saying they could not have been redeemed. God could not have redeemed them. And that says we don't believe in God. It cuts us off from our relationship with God. This is not about them. I am clear. Every man, woman, child, and animal in Gaza should be destroyed. They are Amalek. We are to be at war with Amalek forever and ever. That is the command. Saul loses his kingship because he doesn't kill the animals. But God forbid I'm ever happy about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, go ahead.
When you were speaking, I was thinking about something.
Loudly.
I was thinking about something that my mother used to say, that you're not supposed to rejoice at another person's calamity. It's just like you said, it does something to your neshama. It really
It hurts
does.
us. I don't care about them. I care about us. Yeah, someone go ahead.
It creates evil when you're within yourself. When you're
Exactly.
happy about, yeah.
But you know what
And-
is so hard to contain? When you have friends that have died or have been killed, you have family members that have been tortured or kidnapped, it's so hard
It is.
not to rejoice at the death of your enemy. It's so hard.
Of course
not
it is.
to.
But it's
If it was easy, it wouldn't be valuable.
right. And also,
Of course it's hard. It is the hardest. It is the very hardest thing to do. Certainly one of them. But there's a difference between being grateful that the evil is gone and rejoicing that he's dead.
not that you
We
have
can be
to
grateful that
Understand
Israel is
it's God's
victorious.
creation. It
It's
doesn't
God's
matter.
creation.
Yeah.
Okay? And let's be clear. We can all agree that Khomeini was an epitome of evil. We can all agree Sinwar was an epitome of evil, yes? Okay. But you know what? At one point, and it may have been very short, or it may have only been for a few seconds, Sinwar came out of his mother's womb. And he wasn't evil for at least a couple of seconds. Okay, listen, I want to keep moving on because we're never going to finish. We're never going to finish Passover. Go ahead.
Shepitelano. You know that.
We need to.
You know what that is.
What
I
is
don't know
that?
if everybody knows what
Explain.
that is. Shepitelano is a Hebrew saying, basically.
Gotcha.
I don't know how to translate it. Shepitelano, so that he let us out. He removed it from us. Kind
No,
of.
that's not
How
it.
do you explain Shepitelano?
Created.
Get rid of it.
He so that he created a hole, a vacuum that took out from us.
It's a hard one to translate.
Almost like save them.
It's not salvation. It's not redemption.
It's not redemption.
He removed it from us, removed the evil from us. So you can thank.
Actually, you know what? Calcinatio. Calcinatio. That's
Yeah.
that's it. The term we were using before, the Latin term.
So I gotta ask.
Okay, I want to keep moving. So last two, real quick.
Looked it up. It says it's fog of war. There were reports that he was killed with the father. There were reports that he's still alive. That they don't know.
Okay.
It's the answers. It's
Okay.
fog of war.
Okay, so I know I made
Loudly,
it be very obvious, but can we be joyous in the victory of war?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not joyous at the defeat of our enemy.
Right.
That's joyous that we've achieved the goal. That's not joy that they lost. Okay. If we were all running the marathon. Can I run a marathon with smoking a cigar? Is it allowed to smoke a cigar while you're running a marathon?
Sure. You can do whatever you want.
All right. If we're all running a marathon, right, and Josh wins, Josh has every right to be happy and proud he won. That's good. To be happy we lost, he's a schmendrick. I've taught my boys their whole life, and you guys know I'm good a golfer, some of you know how good they are. When you lose, say little. When you win, say less. Okay? What a surprise. Okay, please continue. Come on, we got more to go.
Where was I?
We were at
China.
If you can't figure out, we start back at page 1.
It is not a coincidence that this all happened right before the holiday of Purim, and especially if you live or are in Israel right now, every moment of time has become more precious. People are conscious of each moment as they need to run to bomb shelters and see hourly attacks of missiles.
Matzah is required because it's about time. Not space, but time. 1 second makes the difference between it's allowed and not allowed. Right? Just 1 second. It's nothing. Unless you're running the 440, the 40 and 4.4 or the 100 in under 10 seconds. Time becomes very, very different when it is an imperative. And right now, my friend Eyal, I saw him, there's some news, but he was here like 3 months after October 7th. I said, Eyal, you dropped 25 pounds. He goes, I'm running to the bomb shelter all night. But he's serious. I talked to a friend today, he's over there. He's stuck over there. Can't get out. He's running back and forth to the bomb shelter from the hotel. Okay? Time is very precious. The siren goes off. Depending on what kind of siren, you have X amount of time to get your butt in a shelter. Think about that when you have matzah this year. Continue, please.
Moror, assimilation, see above. The added practice above is one of the most powerful things you can do during Passover to help defeat the evil of Hamas et al. What is the moror of today? The bitterness that we have come to accept over the last 47 years, and especially since the Iran deal of 2015, we have spent the last 10 years, step by step, accepting more and more of the terrorist evil of Iran and its proxies. So much so that we came to accept it as normal.
It's only in Israel there's going to be a bomb. There's going to be a bus attack. Why should we accept that? We just accepted it. Go on.
It is only recently that this acceptance has been questioned seriously. And in the last week of the war with Iran, more and more countries have now shifted sides and recognized the evil that we have all been in accepting.
This is in the last 3 days, not even 5 days. Go on.
The Islamic countries of France, England, and Canada, Netherlands, Japan, India, Honduras, and more have in the last days condemned Iran. With the Iranian strikes on the Gulf state nations, the Arab states are even starting to condemn Iran.
This may be the stupidest thing that Iran has done, is that they've been bombing American bases in Islamic nations. And it's pissed off Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Bahrain.
And their hotels.
Because it's gotten their, they made it, but they're getting their hotels, they're going to the airport, yeah.
But they deserve it. I'm sorry, but they deserve it because they've been laying in bed with Satan this whole time.
Let's just say that if you're going to lay with a dog, you're going to get a flea.
Exactly.
But they're getting angry about those fleas, so it's a good sign.
This is also the Sunni-Shia war.
Yeah, it is. This is about Islam with Sunni versus Shia as well.
That's what it is.
Yes.
That's
Okay, please continue.
Parallel of the plagues. Before the plagues, we truly suffered at the hands of Pharaoh.
For a minute, let's think about the plagues. right? This is where you dip your finger in the wine, and we say dam. All these different things, right? When you do that this year, please, 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 when you've done with the 10 plagues, don't lick your finger. You don't want the plagues? Wipe them off on a napkin, okay? We got this plague, we got that plague, we got this plague. Tasty. It's not a good idea. Go on.
We being forced in our slave labor to make bricks without straw, etc. Like our ancestors 3,500 years ago, we all suffered, especially for those first 13 months after the horrors of October 7th. Then came our warnings, accompanied by attacks on the enemy. During the 12-day war in June, it seemed like all of the ancient plagues, as though they might be enough. But it wasn't. Iran continued to develop its nuclear capabilities and build ballistic missiles. It was only in the last week, especially with the death of the death with the depth of the Ayatollah, that we are now at a different stage in this battle against an evil modern regime. Each of the ancient plagues demonstrated to our ancestors that Pharaoh and his regime were not in actuality as powerful as they had claimed and would always be subservient to God.
Hold on a minute. Why do we have the plagues? If God can open up Pharaoh's heart, why doesn't he just open Pharaoh's heart? And Pharaoh says, go, have fun.
He hardened his heart.
Why? Who said it? Someone said it. I heard it. For the Jews. Oh, hit him. He's not allowed to. For the Jews. See, the Jews had assimilated. They'd taken on the deities of Egypt. And if you look at the 10 plagues, each one of them corresponds to one of the major 10 deities of the Egyptian pantheon. The Nile, the sun, death, the frog. All these are different deities, Horus, Osiris, Ra, etc., in the Egyptian pantheon. And each one of these plagues was not for the Egyptians, but for the Jews to realize, don't trust that one. Don't trust that one. There's only one God. Okay? This has been happening with Iran. This has been happening with Gaza. It's been happening the last number of days with Iran, and people are starting to realize, oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have been cheering for Iran all this time. Maybe. Okay? Continue.
Well, one thing before I continue.
Loudly.
How many as Jews, with all the holidays that we celebrate, like Hanukkah, what was going on? It was assimilation.
Always.
When you talk about what is the percentage of Jews that left Egypt? Anyone? About 20%. That means 80% of the Jews liked it, and even the ones fetching in the desert saying, I want my meat and I want to go back.
But do you think they really liked it, or did they not have enough faith that they're going to make it?
That's it. That's what it is.
You know, because like right now we're actually watching that with the Jews that are not really believing in Israel or believing in what that our Israeli defense is doing and all the wars we're shunning. Like they don't believe or they don't see the end
And they will,
of the road.
and if they don't, they will end up in the same place as those who stayed in Egypt. In Mitzrayim, remember, literally means tsar, from the narrow waters, from their own narrowness. That's what the word Mitzrayim literally means of Egypt. Okay, we finished that part, right? Go on.
Each one was a warning, culminating not with the death of the firstborn, but with the crossing of the Sea of Reeds. For that is where we truly saw God's hand and became a unified nation against those who sought to destroy us.
That's when we became unified. Is that moment of crossing the Sea of Reeds.
Yes.
Okay? That's when we became one and we got through on the other side. And it's really important. Okay, we're going to skip some pages from the Hasidic Masters. Would someone please turn and read from the bottom of page? Well, hold on. I'm going to skip a little more. Time hauling. Let's skip. You can take these home and do lots of reading. Let's skip to the top of page 8. Who wants to read loudly? Somebody. Or I'll call former DAs if they don't.
Some modern ideas for a Passover.
Loudly.
Some modern ideas for a Passover Seder plate. Orange. The myth that a man said to Susanna Heschel
Okay, this
Daughter
is.
about-
I've seen her put an orange on your Seder plate. This I'm gonna explain real quickly. Supposedly, a guy goes to Susanna Heschel's saying of talking about there should be women rabbis, and this man says a woman belongs on the pulpit like an orange belongs on a Seder plate. And so, what did the feminists start doing? They start putting oranges on the Seder plate.
Say it again. Say it again.
It comes from the story goes that Susanna Heschel was giving a talk. Abraham Joshua Heschel's daughter was giving a talk about women on the pulpit, women rabbis, and a man says to her, women belong on the pulpit like an orange belongs on a Seder plate. And so feminists started putting oranges on Seder plates. Okay, go on. Miriam's cup of water.
Miriam's cup of water. A glass or cup of water placed next to Elijah's cup. This is to symbolize the importance of Miriam's well, which kept the Hebrews nurtured throughout their journey in the desert. Some people will hold it up at the beginning of the telling of the story, when Miriam is mentioned for placing Moses in the water, with the following words: Zod kos Miriam, kos Mayim Hayim, Zecher leYitziach Mitzrayim. This is the cup of Miriam, the cup of living waters. Let us remember the exodus from Egypt.
So the idea of honoring Miriam on the Passover table is that you got a cup, a special cup for Miriam's water. It's nice. The next one you're going to read, I find offensive, and we'll see why.
Ruth's cup. In the last 3 years, some very liberal communities have placed a cup of wine for Ruth on the table. This is to symbolize inclusiveness, specifically for the LGBTQ community. The challenge with this theologically is that it adds a 6th cup of wine, which takes away the entire balance of God's name. And more importantly, that it separates and points out a distinct part of our community. The story of Ruth is specifically and directly in opposition to this concept. The story is about a stranger integrating into Judaism, not Judaism integrating and distinguishing the separateness of a stranger. By making the LGBTQ community member distinct and a special observance, it actually precludes integration into Judaism and stops the concept of Passover that we were all strangers in a strange land and that we all come out together.
Does that make sense to everyone why I'm offended by it?
Yes.
Because it's supposed to be inclusive, and you've just now made a separation. This is special. The next one I'm going to talk about because it's something that came to me this morning, last night. I'm going to have to write an article about this in the next week or two. I would like to add something else on everyone's Passover plate. Okay? You know, guys, I always source stuff. This is not sourced because I came up with this idea in the last 24 hours. But I think it will make Passover more meaningful. I would like to suggest that we all put rose petals on our Seder plate. Why? The rose is the only plant that has those 5 little green leaves holding the flower. And in Kabbalah, we are taught that the hand of God is holding the rose, which all the petals, the 13 petals. It's a wonderful book by Steinsaltz called The 13 Petal Rose, are all the Jewish people. We are separate, but we are the same. Whether you're Ashkenazi, Israeli, Mizrahi, Sephardi, United States, we are all held by hands of God, God's hand. So it's really appropriate on that level. But the other reason is, how many of you know Persians or are Persian?
No, a lot of Persians.
The Persian Jewish custom is rose water on a grave, rose petals at a wedding. Okay? You go to a Persian wedding. Oh, I love this. Have you ever been to a big Persian wedding? Okay. So much fun.
Yes.
Right? And if you stay late enough, which I only do if it's a destination wedding, so I can't get out of there because they know they're putting my family and I up. I can't really leave.
The wedding
early.
never ends? Really?
It ends around 4 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. But at a certain point, before they cut the cake, they take the bride and groom, get in, they dance together with all the people circled around them, and everyone takes the white rose buds from all the centerpieces, and they sing the song that in Farsi translates to "Our love is like a rose." It's like Erev Shoshanim, and they throw it up. They throw the petals up, and the petals drift down and bless the wedding couple. It's like a Bollywood film. It's just so beautiful. This is the Persian custom. This year more than ever, I believe we should all add rose petals to our Passover Seder.
Awesome.
Okay? I'm going to write an article about that because I just think it would be appropriate for this year. What do you guys think? Good idea, not bad idea. Good idea, bad idea.
Good idea.
Fantastic.
It smells nice. Okay, so
You have teenage.
these are. I'm sorry, what?
You have teenage boys.
I do have teenage boys.
Hence, the rose is very important. We're past that.
For them, the only row they care about is the one that's between hole 7 and hole 8. Okay, let's read some. I want us to read about other foods and customs in the middle of page 9. Someone loudly. These are some great customs. I love these because everyone has their own customs,
Other
right?
foods and customs. Cucumber slices to serve as the zorah, or arm of God.
Right? Put cucumber slices on your plate because it's the arm of God which reached out. Go on.
Celery dipped in vinegar instead of parsley in salt water.
But it's a custom. These are all
Scallions
customs.
to whip each other with during the recitation of the 10 plagues or the singing of
This is a
Diana.
Persian thing. They got the scallions and they're just whipping the crap out of each other on these things.
It stains your clothes.
It does stain your clothes horribly because it's acid,
Yes.
but it's still fun. Okay, I got teenagers. They're not letting them hit daddy with scallions on my head. I'll have to go to the hospital. Go ahead.
In Gibraltar, a small bit of actual brick dust is added to the Haroset. The Seder leader also runs 3 times around the table when the Haggadah says, "We left Egypt in a hurry," holding the Seder plate and hitting each person's head lightly with while passing by them.
I just think that's adorable, but I really like the idea of a little bit of brick dust. Go on.
In Syria, there is a custom of putting matzah in a knapsack and carrying it while the Haggadah story of exiting Egypt is told.
This next one is it's one of my favorites.
In Hungary, people bring all their jewelry and put it on the Seder plate as
And
a
give it to the
symbol
temple. Go ahead.
of the golden rings that were given to the Hebrews upon exiting Egypt.
And then they give it to the temple. Okay, go ahead.
Hasidic
Oh, wait, that's
Jews
just a couple lesson.
from the Polish town of Gora Kalwaria, known as Gur Hasids, reenact the crossing of the Red Sea on the 7th day of Passover by pouring water on the floor, lifting up their coats, and naming the towns that they would cross in their region of Poland. They raise a glass at each town and then thank God for helping them reach their destination. This is a small adaptation of the Kabbalistic last Seder that is done by our mystics as we embark on the journey of counting the Omer, awakening our Sephirot, and choosing the freedom of the desert as opposed to the velvet prison of Egypt.
Okay, the idea is that there are 3 Seders. First night, second night, last night. Okay? It was a tradition that we do a last night Seder. And really because that's the night that we get to the Sea of Reeds. And the Hebrews are scared. And they're stuck. The Egyptians are chasing them from behind. They got a sea in front of them. And then a man named Nachshon from the tribe of Benjamin, he goes into the water till the water is above his lips, below his nose. And a wind starts to swirl. It swirls all night. And in the morning, depending on which midrash you listen to, there's a sandbar. There's 12 sandbars, one for each tribe. There's 600,000 sandbars, one for each person. And that's what we cross. And then when the Egyptians try to go on those sandbars, they sink. But so the idea is that the 7th night, when we have the end of Pesach, this is when we become a nation. We become a rose, not just rose petals. We become a nation, a fabric, a mosaic, a tapestry. And we are meant to be a tapestry of different threads. Christianity, Catholicism, right? Everyone goes, their pathway is this way. It goes through the priest, through the Christ to God, right? For us, I'm not your intermediary. Let me be clear. I can barely be my own intermediary. Each of us have our own relationship with God. They are equally as beautiful. And so that is our tradition. That is very different than Catholicism. And we become that tapestry when we cross the Sea of Reeds. All right, I'm going to move forward because of the time. There's some great teachings here. There's something else I'd like to get to before we call it a night. turn to page 14. This is the name of God in Hebrew. Yud Ke Vav Ke. Yud He Vav and He. It says we're made in the image of God. That does not mean God has gray hair or a large nose. Okay? Doesn't.
Sorry, that was loud, but that was funny.
No, it doesn't. It means that we are made like this. If you take God's name as an image, this looks like a human being, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay? When it says at the end of the Elenu, the words of Zechariah, who we are taught is the reincarnation of Moses, it says, Bayom hahu yeyeh echad shmo echad. And on that day, God will be one, and his name will be one. What the heck does it mean his name will be one? Josh, would you mind being God again? Come be God for a moment. You've done this and you're good. This is God. Behold God's image. There's the Yud. There's the Hey. There's the Vav. There's the Hey. And when we think in partnership with God, we give and receive in partnership with God. We feel in partnership with God. And we walk through the world as God's partner. God's name is one. Okay? Thank you. You like that? Okay? That is what it means. This is the secret of the Pesach. This is the skeleton key that will unlock all Jewish ritual without exception. All Jewish services without exception. This is the skeleton key. The Yud Ke Vav Ke. Now, if you look at the top of the Yud, that's the top letter, you see it comes to a little tiny point. That point is called the Kutz of the Yud. It's the infinitesimally small point where God is connecting to us. It's that place in the Sistine Chapel. Is God touching Adam? Are they not touching? Is there space? It's called the Kutz of the Yud. So it's always 4 letters and 1 hidden fifth. This is the opening of Passover. Throughout Passover, everything is 4 plus 1. How many questions are there?
4 plus 1.
4 plus 1. Because there's 4, right? But there's a plus 1. The first one that says, why is this night different from all the nights? How many cups of wine? 4 plus 1. 4 plus Eliyahu's. How many sons? Right? Just 4. There's no plus 1, is there? Until you understand what it's really about. The wise son, the wicked son, the simple son, the one that is unable to inquire. And then in the traditional Haggadah, there's a big blank space. And I actually was truly blessed and privileged to be with Rabbi Adi Steinsaltz when he taught on this for 3 hours, this one issue. Okay? Blessed memory, what amazing. You know. So each of those sons is a generation of Jew. The wise son, he knows the rituals. He knows why we do them, how we do them, and he does them. He's got a son. His son rebels. Okay? That's okay. He still does it, right? He's learned it all. He's learned these rituals from daddy. His wicked son, he has a child. That child grows up in the wicked son's home. So he doesn't have a whole lot of Judaism, right? But every time he goes to grandpa's house, he gets his soul filled with Yiddishkeit. The wise son dies. The wicked son is now the patriarch. He doesn't really do anything Jewish. But you know what he does? Whatever a Jew does once a year. He has a Passover Seder. Okay? He has Pesach. His simple son, his son has a child. That child has no Judaism in the house. Except once a year, they go to grandpa's house. The wicked son. And grandpa says, it's Passover. We were slaves. We're free. Let's eat. That's the amount of Judaism the one who's unable to inquire has. The wicked son dies. The simple son is the patriarch. His one who's unable to inquire has a son who does not even know what Passover is or that it exists. And that's why there's a big blank space in the traditional Haggadah under the 4 sons. 4 plus 1. This is the theme throughout all of our rituals. This is our morning service. We have the Birkat HaShachar, the morning blessings. We have the Pesukah de Zimra, the hymns. We have the Shema and its blessings. We have the Amidah. It's 4 parts of the morning service. But 3 times a week, we have a hidden fifth, the Torah service. This is the skeleton key. So this is one of the reasons also that I don't like the idea of adding another cup of wine onto the Passover table, because it changes. It's no longer God's name, right? Now, we're taught never, ever say God's name, right? First of all, it's not true. In fact, the greatest of meditations are taught by a Cordovero, by Avalafia, by these mystics 600 years ago, 500 years ago, that revolve around meditating God's name personally, but with different vowels. Okay, so there's there's meditations, what's called the 21st Yahud, where you meditate with each, and you say it out loud, each of the letters with different vowels. So you're going Yaha, Waha, Yeh, Hey, Way, Hey, etc. Well, it's done very slowly. It's Yah, it's very, very slow. So the name is very, very important. So it's not true that we don't pronounce it, but we do all pronounce it. How many of you realize that we say God's name every week? Okay? Every week. We say it on Saturday night. You look on page 13, I think. 15, I'm sorry. What do we say at the end of Shabbat? Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishvi, right? Elijah, the prophet Elijah, the Tishbite. Say it not as Eliyahu Hanavi, rather say it as El Yahuha Navi. El Yud-He Vav-He Navi. It is God's name hidden within Havdalah every week. And we are taught when we say Havdalah, when we say this prayer, that the Mashiach is going to come in our time. That he will show up after we say this prayer. So it's right there, isn't it? In plain sight. This is so important as we go through Pesach. And on the back page, it says, this is the tradition of what each of these letters correspond to. This is from Sefer Yetzirah, a 2,000-year-old text. It's from Sefer Yetzirah. It's attributed to Father Abraham, but we know it's at least 2,000 years old. What each of these letters represent, the physical world, which elements, etc. So all of this can help you plan your own Seder, can it?
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. If you do not have a Seder to go to, we will get you to a Seder. Okay? I'm going to be out of town, as we often are for Pesach, just because honestly, it's easier to just leave town and lock up our house than in my house it is to clean out the chametz. By the way, are cigars kosher la Pesach?
Yeah.
Is alcohol?
Yeah.
Wine is.
Wine is. Beer is not. Potato vodka is. Tequila is. It's made out of a cactus. This is what gin is. So this is your only funny story. You can laugh at me if you'd like. I turned 21. It was during Pesach, and I came down from Berkeley to Santa Barbara. Friends who were at UCSB met us there. Our other friends from Cal came down. Friends from UCLA came up. We all met at State Street. I was 21. And they all wanted to get me shicker, and I was like, no, I can drink this. I can't drink that. Okay? I don't drink gin, so you're stuck with tequila. Because I'm not going to drink this gin stuff. You can't drink whiskey. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning. How many of you remember going to State Street? And so we're at a bar, restaurant, wherever. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I am schnockered. And everyone starts laughing at me. I've been really careful. I'm not going to drink beer. Because I was so shicker, I'm eating the bread biscuits. Number of people from camp were there at that. But
Why don't you stuck into tequila?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask you about guitar, please?
About guitar?
Guitar. So
the guitar is an
Not a
instrument you
guitar.
play. It comes from the oud.
Not a guitar.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, well, let's get to that in a second. Okay. So before that, hold that question.
Yes.
So does this help for Pesach?
Yeah.
Okay. So is this stuff you can use? I want to make sure everyone's going to go to a Seder. If you do not have one, come to Tel Orlando. We will find you one that you will enjoy. Okay? We'll find you one. Everyone should be able to come to a Seder. Okay? It's as I say, I'm out of town, so I would invite you. Part of the other reason that we go out of town is because Allison realized very quickly in our relationship that I really take the commandment to invite people to Seder to heart. And so, and it's because to me it's like, okay, we need more food. You'll bring some extra matzah. You'll bring some extra wine. You know what, Mark? We need bring some extra kosher chicken. You just make it more of a potluck community, right? Allison's kitchen is Allison's kitchen, as some of you know. The last time we had Seder at our house, we had over 70 people. Because my way is to just, you don't have a place, come to our house. Okay, that's how I live. And so she also really likes the idea of going out of town for Passover. So, does this help?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you guys see the correlation of Pesach and war? Where we are right now. Right now. And we got to cross the Sea of Reeds. And we are at that edge right now. Go ahead, you had a question, comment. Qatar.
So Saudi Arabia, Iran is bombing Qatar, as they are bombing everybody else as well. But this whole, what I've heard and learned for the past few years is Qatar is not helping Israel or the Jews. Apparently. Can you opine on
Okay, let's talk a little bit about war. How many of you read the daily emails?
Some.
If you don't get them, go to Orlando. He'll get your address every morning, except for Shabbat and festivals. Every morning since October 7th, I've written an email about what's actually going on in Israel and in the Middle East. I was trying to figure out. At this point, we're somewhere between 1.5 million and 2 million words, probably closer to 2 million. Typically, write it after midnight, between midnight and 3. I send it to Orlando. He gets it out either if he's up right then, or he gets up at 6 and sends it out then. 5. So God bless Orlando for all that.
Thank you, Orlando.
And I call different sites that I trust. I'm part of different WhatsApp groups with different bureaucrats. And I distill. So there's only so much. Okay. So let's talk about war questions right now. I was just on OAN with Riley Lewis yesterday morning, I don't remember. They asked me to come on and talk about it. Qatar. Mark Twain said in a book called Letters from the Earth, which is a book where Satan has come down to Earth for a celestial day and is writing back to his friends Michael and Gabriel about how stupid humans are. And one of the things he's talking about is heaven. And he says, on Earth, one person in 100 can sing, one person in 1,000 can play an instrument, one person in 10,000 wants to be around music for more than an hour. But they think in heaven, everybody sings and everybody plays the harp all the time. Okay? He points out this kind of stuff. And one of the things he says is that they believe everyone loves each other in heaven, but the reality is the white man hates the black man hates the yellow man hates the red man, and everybody hates the Jew. Okay? In the Quran, there is a quality called kafir. Kafir means infidel. Okay? Kafir is anyone who does not believe in the observancy of Islamic Sharia law. So, like all faith traditions, if we talk about Judaism or Christianity, 10 to 20% are really observant, and 80 to 90% are 2-day-a-year Jews. Christmas, Easter Christians. Right? Same in Islam. 80% of them, they drink alcohol, they smoke tobacco, they have sex whenever they can with whatever they can. Okay? Right? It's not the... So, but the 10 to 20% are the observant. They are practicing what the Quran teaches. When we say Islamic extremist and we say moderate Muslim, we are backwards. This is Islam. These are rebels. Okay? Does everyone got to get that first of all? In the Quran, it's very clear. We are kafir. We're especially hated because we were the first ones. But so are Christians and so are non-practicing Muslims. Okay? But there's, I believe, 217 times or more that they specifically says kill the Jew. Okay? But you know what else they got? They got different sects. And the different sects, the real distinction is whose leader is directly descended from Muhammad. At the end of the day, that's the difference between all the different sects. With the exception of Sufism, which is a whole different sect based around mysticism and song and dance and what's called a zikr, which is a spectacular experience to be around. The Sufis have not been able to come to this country. But I was there last time they did when they were here in Los Angeles, the Will Turn, and that's at least 30 years ago. It's a spectacular, with the zikr is the spectacular dance that they spin. And it's actually not a random spinning. It's the spinning of the planets in the cosmos. And the dancing master's movement is spectacular. It's really transcendent. There's a period of my life for a few years where I read Rumi every morning. So not every Muslim likes every other Muslim. Okay? So you've got that issue going on. But they all hate us. Does that make sense? Does that help a little bit about the dynamic that's going on?
A little bit, yeah. But
Okay.
With the Qataris refusing all the funds they are to the universities here and all that, I would figure that Iran would look at them as an ally, not as a threat. The Abraham Accords with Saudi.
Go ahead. What did you say?
They just made the biggest deal with Qatar just made the biggest deal with the United States to have the Air Force
The
base,
F-35s.
and then the F-35s right
So
out there.
back to
So
us.
the United States of America has a base right out of Qatar. We are the number one allies of Israel. They're the number one allies of us as Israelis, as Jewish people in general. So
There's
and
two ways.
Qatar-
So your goal is to get a worldwide caliphate, right?
exactly.
One way that they've been trying for 1,400 years that hasn't worked so well is the Crusades. Let's go to war. They've pretty much gotten their butts kicked every time they've tried that, right?
Eventually.
Eventually, they've pretty much gotten their butts kicked. There's another way. Let's make alliances with other disenfranchised groups. Let's educate children the way we think they should be educated. Let's take over the country from the inside out, the enemy within. It's two different ways of doing it. Lauren, do you want to make any comment? Because I know this is a place where you're really an expert. See, you thought you'd get away with it tonight. Any comment you'd like to add to that?
Don't forget the Qataris as being unified.
Loudly.
The Qataris are not necessarily unified. They have people among them just like Jews. We have progressives, we have conservatives, we have Orthodox, they have assholes. There are people in Qatar who hate Jews. They're going to continue to hate Jews. They're going to fund terrorism. And you have Qataris who are brilliant and who have figured out that survival in the Middle East means there's got to be interaction with the West. And so the Qataris are doing that which is expedient.
It's just a different form of war.
It's just the continuation of what we have seen since the 1500s. You know, the thing that is remarkable, if you go back to Ferdinand and Isabel and the separation of Christianity from Judaism and the Arabs and what happened in Spain, you see the separation of the groups. Well, they haven't gotten back yet. The Qataris are remarkable in their brilliance in making money and in controlling the strait, but they still have elements inside them that are going to fund terror.
But they're really not.
Loudly.
They're very not trustworthy. They keep flipping, like they flip back and forth. They were our mediaries in order to get all the money funded from Hamas, and that was coming through us. That was coming through our government.
This is what you're saying is they flip back and forth. Okay? They do. And their goal is still, remember the goal of the Quran is clear. How you get there, it's not as clear,
So
other than you can lie about it.
Is that the same for the UAE, the Saudi Arabia?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
They've all started to really come to the
Yeah, but
table.
Lauren pointed out it's expedient.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a smart move to do.
Yeah.
What about the Muslims who live inside Israel, the citizens?
The Muslims, they realize that they're treated well in Israel.
Yeah, but there's more attacks coming from inside Israel now than ever before.
Yeah.
And that's coming through. And
Well, they're not-
members of Knesset in Israel who are Arab Muslim are getting up and yelling anti-Semitic stuff and calling for the destruction in Israel openly now in the Knesset.
There's a huge deep state in Israel that dwarfs our deep state. I'm actually doing an interview with Ambassador David Friedman next week, who was the ambassador to Israel, U.S. ambassador during the whole first Trump administration. This is one of the things that we're going to talk about. is that there is not the consistency in Israel. There's some, there's some guys like Gantz who has said, "I'm with Bibi right now, even though I hate him. We are unified." And then there are Schmendricks like Lapid, okay, who's basically, and how much you know about Lapid, who's the head of the opposition. His father owned a major newspaper. His job when he did his time in the IDF was he was a correspondent. Then he was a TV show host, sort of like a Geraldo Rivera. Then he was trying to write movies. Then he decided he's going to go into politics. Got a lot of money. Okay? And he was setting up meetings with Obama outside of the government. So, there are challenges there. Other question about war, about the war per se.
Kurds.
Kurds?
Kurds.
Kurds. They rent cars.
The Kurds are now attacking Iran.
In theory. In theory. What?
It's happening.
Kurds are attacking.
Yes.
The Kurds are not necessarily attacking.
Kurds are attacking.
There are Kurds who are attacking, but they have not gone to war as a
nation,
as the culture, as a Kurdish culture. Okay. Also, the place to always watch out for, if you're not being aware, is Turkey. Okay. Turkey has, since Erdogan became in charge of it, Turkey has had this delusion, this image. They will again be the rulers of the Ottoman Empire. It will come out. They will be running everything. This is where. So you've got to watch out for Turkey. Those are the ones not to trust in any way, shape, or form. Which is really a shame because 30 years ago, you knew guys like this one. I know where they guys took, they finished their tour of Jordan and Israel. They went, where did they vacation? Turkey. It's Turkey.
It was huge.
Right?
Israelis went there.
Did you go there? Of course. I just remember you coming back and breaking, that sort of you breaking your beard on the ice after skiing. I still remember it. It's so funny. So, watch out for Turkey.
Turkey's preparing to attack Greece right now.
And Iran.
And Greece is where our ammunition and our artillery is made.
And Cyprus. Yep. You got to watch out for Turkey. You got to be aware of that. Other comments or questions about the war per se? The prediction is, Trump has gone everywhere from 3 weeks to 4 weeks to 5 weeks to 6 weeks to 4 weeks to 3 weeks to 3 days to 5 weeks. But it will. My belief is that this is going to be pretty much done before the end of Pesach.
Yeah. Before the beginning. About the gods here.
I believe that. Well, it's a local call. All right. Any other questions? Does this help with Pesach?
Yeah.
Take the handouts home. Use them. If you do not have a Passover Seder, talk to Orlando. If you do not get the daily emails, talk to Orlando. If you just want to have a nice conversation, talk to Orlando.
If you want to make a donation.
If you want to make a donation, we accept jewelry, we accept CD.
Real estate.
So we have services on Friday night. Thank you guys. Happy Pesach. Happy Purim. May Israel stay safe in every way, shape, and form.
I do have one more question.
Yeah.